Dystopian fiction has long served as both entertainment and warning, offering audiences a glimpse of what might happen when certain political, cultural, and technological trends are allowed to run unchecked. Two of the most enduring examples are Demolition Man, a satirical version of a sanitized, hyper-regulated America, and V For Vendetta, a portrait of authoritarian Britain under surveillance and propaganda. Increasingly, critics and observers note uncomfortable parallels between these works of fiction and the real trajectories of the United States and the United Kingdom. The United States seems to be veering toward the sanitized authoritarianism of Demolition Man, with its culture of censorship, corporate dominance, and the suppression of free expression under the guise of safety and morality. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom appears to mirror the darker authoritarian control of V For Vendetta, where fear, surveillance, and the erosion of civil liberties pave the way for a government that rules through intimidation and propaganda. Demolition Man is set in a future America where crime and violence have been eradicated through extreme social control. Citizens live in a sanitized, risk-free society where unhealthy food is banned, language is censored, sex is regulated, and corporations heavily influence governance. Beneath its comedic surface, the film critiques the dangers of trading liberty for safety and showing how a seemingly utopian society hides authoritarian underpinnings. V For Vendetta, by contrast, presents a Britain ruled by a totalitarian regime following a catastrophic event. The Norse-fire government enforces obedience through constant surveillance, propaganda, and fear-mongering. Civil liberties are eradicated, dissidents are silenced, and scapegoating minorities justifies the regime's iron grip. Against the backdrop, the masked vigilante seeks to inspire revolution, reminding the people that governments should fear their citizens, not the other way around. Together, these texts offer two distinct but complementary warnings. One against creeping, benevolent authoritarianism masked as public safety, and the other against overt fascism arising from fear and control. In Demolition Man, even swearing is illegal, with citizens fined instantly by automated systems. Today, while the US Constitution still protects free speech, there is a growing cultural climate of self-censorship and regulation of language. Social media bans, cancel culture, and the increasing power of tech companies to dictate what speech is permissible mirror the film's world where expression is tightly controlled for the sake of civility. The danger here lies not only in government censorship but in corporate power, where tech giants regulate discourse more powerfully than elected officials. America risks drifting into a system where expression is only allowed if it conforms to dominant ideologies. Demolition Man satirically depicts every restaurant as a Taco Bell following corporate consolidation. While exaggerated, the USA shows parallels in monopolization of industry, while a handful of corporations, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Disney, who do not only dominate markets but shape cultural narratives. The blending of corporate and state power, often called corporatocracy, risks creating a sanitized consumerist society where citizens are even more subjects than participants, echoing the critiques embedded in the film. In the film, smoking, alcohol, meat, and physical sports are banned, reflecting a society obsessed with health and safety. In the USA, while such extremes are not yet reality, trends toward excessive regulation combined with nanny-state policies show echoes of this sanitization vision. From restrictions on personal lifestyle choices to growing medical mandates, the line between protection and control becomes increasingly blurred. What makes Demolition Man chilling is that its society appears peaceful and safe, yet this stability comes at the cost of individuality, freedom, and risk. In the US, prioritization of safetyism, where the avoidance of harm justifies curbing freedoms, is evident in both politics and culture. The erosion of liberties in the name of security, from the Patriot Act to pandemic restrictions, illustrates this trajectory. V For Vendetta depicts a Britain where the government monitors citizens constantly, using CCTV, phone tapping, and secret police. The UK today is one of the most surveilled nations in the world, with millions of CCTV cameras. Programs like GCHQ's data collection and the Investigatory Powers Act expand state access to private communications. Though justified as tools for fighting terrorism and crime, such surveillance risks creating a fear of culture and conformity, much like Norsefire's Britain. Norsefire rose to power by exploiting a national crisis. Similarly, in the UK, crises such as terrorism, immigration, and pandemics have been used to justify emergency powers, censorship, and the curtailment of liberties. The politics of fear encourage citizens to accept authoritarian measures in exchange for promises of security. The echoes of V For Vendetta's slogan, "Strength through unity, unity through faith," are seen in the UK government's rhetoric of unity during times of crisis, where dissent is treated as dangerous rather than democratic. In V For Vendetta, the state-run media is a tool of indoctrination, shaping citizens' understanding of reality. The UK, while not under total state media control, demonstrates concerning trends in government influence over the press. State-funded broadcasters such as the BBC face accusations of bias, while restrictive press laws and government pressure on dissenting voices erode media independence. One of the most striking parallels is the gradual erosion of civil liberties. Protest laws restricting demonstrations, expanding police powers, and hate speech legislation create a society where dissent can be criminalised. As with V For Vendetta, authoritarianism does not arrive overnight, it creeps in under the guise of public order and safety. While both nations embody aspects of these dystopian visions, their paths differ. The USA leans towards Demolition Man's sanitized authoritarianism, enforced by corporate power and cultural policing, while the UK edges towards a V For Vendetta fear-driven surveillance-heavy authoritarian state. Yet there are intersections. Both nations are grappling with surveillance, censorship, corporate state alliances, and the erosion of liberty. Both face the risk that democratic institutions will be hollowed out, leaving only the shell of democracy, while authoritarianism operates beneath. Some may argue these parallels are exaggerated, that drawing comparisons between satirical or exaggerated dystopias and modern democracies risks alarmism. US and UK still hold elections, allow protest, and maintain a level of freedom unimaginable in true dictatorships. However, the value of dystopian fiction lies in its allegorical power. The fact that parallels can be drawn at all should prompt concern. Democracies rarely collapse overnight, they erode gradually. Demolition Man and V For Vendetta serve as cultural warnings of what might happen if current trends go unchecked. The USA and UK, once heralds of liberty and democracy, now display unsettling parallels to dystopian visions. The United States increasingly reflects the sanitized, corporatized authoritarianism of Demolition Man, where freedom is sacrificed for safety and civility. The UK shows signs of the authoritarian fear state of V For Vendetta, where surveillance propaganda and crisis politics erode liberty in the name of order. Both paths reveal different faces of the same danger, the creeping rise of authoritarianism in the guise of safety, unity, and morality. The lesson of these dystopias is clear. Liberty requires constant vigilance. If citizens fail to resist these trends, the fictions of yesterday may become the realities of tomorrow.